So I picked number 17, which is, again, simplifying this expression, but here we have a combination of radical expressions where we're adding them. So, all right, let's get started. So my first thought is, I see that the smallest number under the radical is a 3. So since we think about radicals as sort of variables, and we can't combine things unless they have the same variable, because when you have something, for example, like x plus y, that does not combine. But if I had x plus x, I would get 2x. So the same thing goes here in the case of radicals. We want to try to see if we could get them all to have the same rad 3x, rad 3x, rad 3x here somehow. That way we could just combine them and find a total. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to rewrite this. I'm going to say, okay, well, I'm dealing with square roots here, so that means I'm trying to find some perfect squares within these numbers. So I know 27 is the same thing as 9 times 3, which is good because 9 is a perfect square. I know 48 is the same thing as 16 times 3. And then we'll just go ahead and leave that last term the way that it is. So we can already see this is coming together nicely because I found out that I have a 3x, 3x, and 3x underneath each of my radicals. So these are going to be able to be combined nicely once I pull out my perfect squares. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm now going to pull out my 9. And so when I pull a 9 out of the square root, I'm left with 3, because the square root of 9 is 3. So I'm left with 3 rad 3x plus, well, when I pull out 16 out of my square root, I'm left with 4, because the square root of 16 is 4. Again, 4 square root of 3x. And then minus 2 square root of 3x. And then we can just go ahead and say, okay, 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 minus 2 is 5. So I'm left with 5 rad 3x as my answer. And it's not always going to be the case, just a little note, it's not always going to be the case that this works out perfectly. I know that we saw some examples in class where we weren't able to get every single term alike, so we couldn't combine them in that case. So you just want to make sure that you've done everything that you can to see if you can get the terms to be like terms so that you can combine them. And if you can't, then you just leave those terms as they are and don't combine them. All right?